I don't think anything could have prepared me for what I overheard that night. It started out like any other quiet evening. I had just finished cleaning up after dinner and was headed upstairs when I caught the sound of my wife, Natalie, laughing with her friend Vanessa in the living room. I paused by the staircase, not out of suspicion, just out of habit. But what I heard next froze me where I stood. Natalie's voice, light and teasing, cut through the air like a knife. "Oh, you have no idea," she giggled. "It was incredible. I let Daniel do things to me that Oliver wouldn't even think of asking for." Vanessa's laughter echoed. "And the best part," Natalie continued, her voice dripping with smugness, "I can't wait for our next date. I think I'll let him push even more boundaries." My breath caught in my throat. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was how she said it. So gleeful, so arrogant, mocking me without a second thought. Something inside me snapped, not out of rage but a kind of cold, numbing clarity. Without thinking, I stepped out from the shadows, making my presence known. Natalie froze mid-laugh. Her face went pale in an instant, as if all the blood had drained from it. Vanessa looked like she wanted the earth to swallow her whole. I kept my voice steady, though my insides churned. "Go on," I said, my tone calm but razor-sharp. "What else does this Daniel do that I don't?" Natalie stumbled over her words, trying to recover. It's not what it sounds like, Oliver," she stammered. I let out a hollow, humorless chuckle. "No," I replied. "It's exactly what it sounded like." Vanessa didn't even try to defend herself. She grabbed her purse and practically ran for the door, muttering a weak excuse as she fled. I looked directly at Natalie, my expression cold and unreadable. "Don't worry," I said quietly. "You'll both be out of this house soon enough." I didn't shout. I didn't break anything. I simply turned around and walked away, leaving her standing there in stunned silence. Downstairs, I sat at the kitchen table, hands folded tightly in front of me, staring at the grain of the wooden tabletop as everything sank in. This wasn't just infidelity. It was cruelty. She'd laughed about it, mocked me behind my back, bent my money, played the loving wife to my face while raising our daughter together. But I wasn't going to lose control. If she wanted to be cruel, I'd be calculating. That night I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I didn't pack a bag. I brewed a cup of black coffee and got to work. If she stabbed me in the back, then I'd handle this with precision. Step 1. Gather evidence. I needed irrefutable proof. While she pretended to sleep beside me, I quietly slipped into the guest room, taking my old laptop and a burner phone I'd bought years ago, forgotten in the back of a drawer. It was almost poetic, the useless things you don't think you'll ever need becoming your lifeline. I accessed her phone's cloud backup and combed through everything. Deleted texts, call logs, hidden photos. What I found made me sick. There were explicit photos sent while we were visiting my parents for Thanksgiving. Receipts for hotel rooms booked on nights I had stayed up late helping our daughter with her science project. Voice messages where she gushed about how Daniel knew how to please her better than I ever could. Oddly enough, it didn't hurt as much as it clarified. Step 2. Secure my future. The very next morning I met with my lawyer. "We're filing for divorce," I told him, sliding a thick folder across his desk. He glanced through it, nodding slowly. "We'll proceed under adultery. No alimony. If we handle this right, you'll keep the house." I liked the sound of that. We froze our joint accounts immediately. I moved all my business funds into a separate LLC under my name only. I changed every password, updated my will, and locked everything down. By the time Natalie realized what was happening, it would already be too late. Step 3. Let her believe everything was fine. That evening, she acted as if nothing had happened. She asked what I wanted for dinner, smiling sweetly. "Sure," I said, returning her fake cheer with my own smile. "You remember that Thai place on Lincoln?" She beamed, completely unaware. She didn't just cheat, she believed she was smarter than me. But she wasn't. Dinner arrived at 7:42 p.m. She lit candles, slipped into that black silk robe she used to save for special nights. I was thinking maybe we could, reconnect, she purred, handing me a spring roll. You've been a bit distant lately. You're right, I said simply. I have been. Anything on your mind? She asked. Plenty, I thought. But I just smiled and said, let's eat. She chatted as if we were newlyweds again. Let her. Meanwhile, I was already 3 moves ahead. The next morning, I kissed her cheek and told her to take her time getting ready. I had errands. In reality, I dropped off notarized divorce papers, hired a private investigator to cement the case, paid off my car loan to protect it, and sent an anonymous email to one of her more moral friends. Subject: You deserve to know the truth. Attached were just 2 screenshots, enough to plant doubt without saying a word. That night, she returned tense, setting down her purse carefully. You've been really nice lately, she said cautiously. Should I not be? I replied, my face unreadable. It's just different. Maybe I'm just adjusting to the truth, I replied. She flinched, barely, but I noticed. Later, she announced she'd be heading out to meet Vanessa again. Tell her I said hello, I replied casually. She blinked. You're okay with this? Why wouldn't I be? Smiled. She didn't know I'd installed a GPS tracker in her car months ago, under the excuse of lowering insurance premiums. At 9:18 p.m., I received a photo from the investigator. There she was, walking into a downtown hotel with Daniel, the same man from her messages and beach photos she once claimed was just some random guy. She was playing checkers. I was playing chess. Every move she made led her straight into my trap. By the next morning, I had everything I needed. I submitted the divorce paperwork. Grounds: adultery and emotional cruelty. Included were chat logs, photos, GPS timestamps, and even a sworn statement from Vanessa, who eventually confessed under pressure. When I walked out of that courthouse, the weight was gone. It wasn't anger I felt. It was peace. At exactly 10:01 a.m., I sent her an email. You'll be served today. Do not return home. No emotion. No begging. Just finality. She called at 10:15. I ignored it. More calls followed. Then came the voicemail. Oliver, please, what's going on? Served. What does that mean? I replied with a single text. I think you already know. 10 minutes later, she pulled into the driveway. Her key didn't work. The locks had been changed. Garage remote disabled. Taped to the door was a simple note. Check your email. Everything you need to know is there. Kindly forward your new address to my attorney. She was crushed. Later that evening, she left a trembling voicemail. Oliver, please, can we talk? I never meant to hurt you. I was just lonely. I thought you didn't care anymore. I made a mistake. But forgetting to take out the trash is a mistake. This was deliberate. I let her think she was in control, right up until I pulled the rug from under her feet. I sent one final blow, by mailing her parents a carefully curated package. Screenshots, printed transcripts, explicit photos, and one damning voice recording. They never responded. They simply cut ties. Her friends. They abandoned her too. Vanessa disappeared from her life. Her social circle crumbled. She mocked the man who loved her. All it proved was how easy she was to replace. I moved into a modest apartment. Not lavish but quiet and honest. I slept soundly. I took up running again. I looked in the mirror and finally saw a man who didn't break, but rebuilt. Weeks passed. No more calls. No more messages. Just silence. Then one quiet Tuesday night, midway through dinner, I heard a knock at the door. It was Natalie. No makeup. No jewelry. Hair tied back. She looked nothing like the woman who had once believed she was untouchable. Her face was hollow, tired, worn down. Can we talk? She asked. Talk about what? I replied, calm as ever. She looked down, unable to meet my eyes. I don't know who I was back then, she whispered. I spiraled. You were always calm, steady. I mistook it for weakness. I thought I could do better. I was wrong. I said nothing. Tears formed in her eyes. You were a good man, better than I deserved. I'm not asking for anything. I'm sorry. Her words hung in the air, fragile but meaningless. You didn't just cheat, I said softly. You disrespected me. You used me. And then you laughed about it. She nodded, her lips trembling. You destroyed something that could have been repaired. And you didn't even hesitate. I know, she whispered. Then why are you here? Asked. She glanced toward the doorway, her eyes misty. I don't know, she admitted. I guess I hoped we could talk. We are talking, I said plainly. And this is where it ends. She took a step back, visibly shaken by the finality in my voice. No drama. No yelling. Just closure. Goodbye, Natalie, I said, closing the door. Oliver, she called out, her voice barely audible. Pause. You closed this door the moment you opened another one, I said calmly. Don't knock now just because it slammed shut on you. And then I closed it for good. She never returned. Her name never passed my lips again. I didn't rebuild what she shattered. I built something better, quiet, strong, dignified. Was it revenge? Maybe. But was it justice? Absolutely.